industry at the moment as impacting? Well, in general, what are the top three things?
So within the pharmaceutical industry, there are a number of challenges that are facing the pharmaceutical industry. The high cost of drug development to get a successful drug onto the market is very, very high. The length of time that it takes to get that drug onto the market as well is very long and very, very problematic, with a lot of failures in early stage, and as we've recently seen, quite late stage as well, which obviously means a much higher cost. So that's a very big problem. The length, sometimes up to 12 years. As you know, and one of the things that NVIDIA is obviously very interested in is accelerating that time so that we can reduce the time to the drugs to the market, and obviously that has an impact on the cost. But one of the big things that's going to impact that is the amount of data the pharmaceuticals have already got, which is large amounts of data across many different types of silos. But as well as that is how do you then analyze different types of data together as well. So one of our key challenges is to understand the different data attributes and be able to organize those and then analyze those at greater speed. And the pharmaceuticals are speeding up their processing. So when you look at some of the instrumentation now, it's getting much, much faster. And in some cases, that's because of GPUs helping to accelerate that.
Okay, so hold on, just let me stop you a second. That's about 800 words you just said in one sentence.
Sorry.
Basically. Okay. That's okay. I mean, that's okay. I mean, what you're starting to do is answer the next question, which we just need it in sound bites. That's all. So what type of organizations you're working with and why are they working with us?
So we're working with the kind of top pharmaceutical organizations, but also a lot of the big research organizations as well. A lot of the time they have very common challenges with data and the data types, whether it's imaging and genomics, whether it's molecular. They will be doing very similar types of processing, and this is something that GPU acceleration exceeds that type of processes.
And what sort of, as an example, some of say the key innovations that they're working with NVIDIA on? Where are we helping this industry to innovate? What sort of areas?
Yeah, so I think we have some traditional methods. Some of the applications that have been NVIDIA worked on for a long time, such as cryo-EM, molecular dynamics, which now, the only answer is GPU. Those are things that we've excelled at doing, and we've got a fantastic team internally. I think where we're now starting to spread out is in genomics and medical imaging, and one of the big areas is actually taking imaging from the instrumentation, and then whether it's improving or accelerating the time to identify and analyze that image, and then produce more artifacts from that image than would be naturally.
So medical imaging is one of the key areas. I mean, what are some of the things you've learned about how, about medical imaging, about what's happening in that area as a result of working with us? You talked a little bit about it, and just expand on it a little bit more.
Yeah, it's a good question. So what we've found is there's huge banks of images that pharma and research are collecting, whether CT, MRI, or pathology. Sometimes they've got hundreds of thousands of glass slides that they haven't digitalized. And a lot of the time they are using traditional methods of looking and identifying what's on or within the image. And a lot of the discussions that NVIDIA is having around these images, medical images, is applying artificial intelligence. So can I find a cancer that looks like this? And if so, what was the outcome of the patients? What was the predominant outcome of the patients if I applied this type of treatment or this type of treatment? A lot of these types of questions are fairly simple, but traditionally they're not being looked at en masse. A single image will be used within a kind of a clinical trial and then stored, but not used again to reanalyze